What's going on, trappers? Welcome back to J-Will Trap TV. If you're like K9 and you're betting on this channel, make sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, and put a notification bell so you know when I go live or make a new video. I wouldn't want you to get dropped over a like. Let's go. Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to J-Will Trap TV. Hey guys, how you guys doing? Today we are gonna be recapping episode 3 of season 2 of BMF. This episode is called Devil's Night. Now guys, before we get started, I just want to say thank you to those new subscribers. I've seen we got a few new subscribers. Thank you guys so much. Hey, you guys, remember, it really helps when you guys drop that like button for your boy. Hit that like button. You know, when you guys watch these videos, hit that like button. I see y'all coming back. Hit that like button. If you're new, hit that subscribe button. All right, let's jump right in. Let's go. So we start off and we have our normal title card, and the title card says that Mom's never allowed us to mask up for Devil's Night or for Halloween, but Meech and I went out anyway. So Big Terry's telling us that these guys, they always went out during Halloween and they always got into trouble. We start the episode off with like a history lesson on Mischief Night, or the Devil's Night. Mischief Night goes all the way back to the 1800s and it turned into the Devil's Night, and this is the night before Halloween. We go back in time a bit and we got a scene with teenage Meech and Terry. They're running through the neighborhood and Charles is with them. The whole neighborhood, they're out and they're looking pretty much for arsonists. They see an arsonist and they chase this guy out the neighborhood. And we get told in the narration that everyone in Detroit is scared for their home during this time, and that folks are watching. It eventually turned into a 3-day thing where folks were burning down people's houses, so everyone's just kind of on edge and watching to make sure their house doesn't get burned down. We switch back to present time in the 1980s, and Terry comes downstairs and he's in good spirits. He tells Charles that they're doing good. Charles is like, yeah, we're doing good. Ever since we added that third driver, Denise, business is kicking up and we're doing really good. On the TV, we hear about this major drug bust in Florida, and basically a lot of drugs kind of get taken off the map, and this is gonna cause a drought to come all the way up to Detroit. Now, coupled with Devil's Night, this is gonna cause a lot of crime to ratchet up. People are gonna get violent, there are gonna be a lot of break-ins, and generally the streets are just gonna be hot because these drugs are not here and it is Devil's Night. We switch scenes and we come in on Meech with Lamar's baby mama Mo, and Meech is in here having a very long sex scene. It goes on for a little longer than I needed it to go on for. At one point, instead of showing us Mo's ass, they showed us Meech's ass, and they lay in bed, and Meech tries to start smoking, but Mo tells him not to smoke, and she doesn't want to go to work smelling like bud, and it looks like she's a paralegal, which is great. Meech gets a phone call, and he is told by his cousin that he lost his product and that it was stolen from him. Meech gets up, and we go into the kids' room, and we see that Zoe is here. I don't know if you guys remember Zoe from season 1. She was go to school, and Lamar would go pick her up. That whole story from season 1. And also Meech's daughter seems to be here. So we see him catch up with her, and it looks like he's gonna take her somewhere else. So I'm looking at this scene, and this scene pretty much for me, it is reintroducing us to Mo and Zoe. It is giving us that connection for things to come later on in the episode. In the next scene, we see Terry. He's driving with Nikki. He's taking her to school, and suddenly his tire pops. He loses control of the vehicle, and he's able to kind of pull it to the side of the road. But during all the drama, Nikki gets whiplash, and she bangs her head into the seat in front of her, and she appears unresponsive. We switch to K9's gambling parlor, where we witness some shiesty gambling going on. There's some dude going on that seems to win, but then we find out that he is cheating. At this point, this guy, he gets called out by another guy at the table. It turns out this guy's name is Sterling Black. K9 tells us this guy is the head of the PAs. This guy asks K9 how he wants to handle this, if he wants him to handle it, if he wants K9 to handle it, and K9 sends his dudes to go pick that guy up. So I'm pretty sure that guy's gonna get taken to the back and get strung up, because that's kind of K9's thing. Meech meets with K9, and he lets him know that his cousin got robbed and that he's gonna need a re-up sooner. K9 says that he cannot at this time and he should come back in a few weeks. Meech says he really needs this, he's been loyal, what's the problem? K9 says that, hey, he can't flood the streets right now, he's making more money by keeping the drugs off the street at this time. Meech says, what does he have to do to get some product? And K9 eventually tells him that, hey, if you bring this guy in, Travis, alive, he was the guy mouthing off in here at the club the other day, if you bring that guy in alive, then maybe I will give you some product. K9 also gives Meech some additional game, and he tells him that, hey, he should check in on his cousin to see, if he's really telling the truth about him getting robbed. He says, loyalty is stronger than blood, and maybe he should go check him out. So it looks like Meech is gonna take that advice. So now we are back at the scene of the crash. Nikki is pretty banged up. She's gonna be okay, but the EMTs are saying keep an eye on her. Charles confronts Terry and says the tires were sabotaged, and he wonders if anyone is targeting him. Terry says, Terry doesn't think anyone's targeting him, and he's saying maybe it's a Devil's Night prank. So at this point, I don't think Terry's suspecting that anyone has done anything, but I think that's gonna change as we continue through the episode. We now switch to the police precinct and Veronica Jen is in here studying the crime board. Brian comes in and says he interviewed the guys that they arrested in the project from the last episode and that they are not 50 boys. Veronica gets upset because she asks, yo, well, how come you didn't come get me? Why did you leave me out? And Brian says, I'm sorry, I'll try to be more transparent in the future. But then he moves on to tell her that the 50 boys and the 12 Street Boys have merged to become BMF, the Black Mafia family. Veronica asks why Brian is so interested in catching Meech, and Brian says that Meech is a scum to the community and he is just destroying the community. The way Veronica looks at him though, you can't help but wonder if she's starting to think if there's more to it with Meech. Meech goes to Wolf Records to enlist B. Mickey's help in hunting down Travis. B. Mickey's not really interested in doing a snatch and grab, but eventually he agrees to come along. When B. Mickey asks Meech how this guy looks, Meech doesn't really remember how he looks. He remembers that he does have a tattoo and he says that he's gonna go check some tattoo places to see if he can find out more information. Before he leaves, he gets word from his goons that Nikki got into a car accident and that Terry's tires may have been sabotaged. Meech now goes to visit Nikki, who's in good spirits and happy to see him. Terry comes in and Meech asks Terry why he didn't call Meech, and Terry says that the last time him and Meech were together, Meech punched him in the face. Nikki jumps in and says that she doesn't want them to both start fighting again, and Meech says that it's okay, they're all family and he has their back. Terry says that he has this handled and he's gonna fix this on his own. We now switch to Terry and he goes over to Marquisha's workplace to check on his insurance. Marquisha informs him that his insurance is not comprehensive and does not cover the vandalism done to his tires. Marquisha, I thought you were looking out for us and making sure we got the best services over at FDI. Apparently you were not. Terry sees that his altered brochures got replaced, and Marquisha informs him that the owner, Cleet, came in and was really upset that they were replaced in the first place and fixed them. Terry puts two and two together and realizes that Cleet is the one who's sabotaging his tires. He starts yelling and cursing in her place of business, and she has to calm him down and remind him that he's not in the hood. She tells him to wait outside and that she'll use her lunch break and she'll come out and talk to him. So, man, see, Marquisha's invested. She's invested in this dude's problem. She's going on lunch to hang out with Terry. Okay, watch out, Carmelo. So now we switch to Lamar and his cousin. We're in some kind of morgue, and Lamar's cousin, he's dressing some embalmed dude up, getting him ready for a funeral. Lamar bursts out of a body bag, wakes up, starts crawling around, dude, looking like Schmeagol from Lord of the Rings. And he tries to take this dude's shoes, and his cousin tells him that he can't do that, that's a violation, he can lose his job. But it seems like Lamar's gonna do it anyway, and he asks his cousin for his clothes. And then we end the scene. We switch back to Terry and Marquisha, and they're at a fancy restaurant on the water. She fancy, huh?
Fancy, huh? Oh, you fancy, huh? Nail done, hair done, everything big.
Marquisha compliments Terry on his new haircut, and she asks him to try some of her fried calamari. Terry tries to say he's straight. He don't really eat this kind of fancy stuff. He's not ready for that yet. She tells them that, yo, if you're gonna hang out with me, you gotta be a little bit more adventurous. So he agrees, he takes a bite of the calamari, and he thinks it tastes like fried chicken with a little bit of shrimp. She tells him that he can exist in the hood but not have the hood mindset. But he says that these hood rules are what's gonna make Cleet pay these bills on these tires that he popped, right? Marquisha says that he's gonna need backup to step up to a dude like Cleet. Terry says that he doesn't need help and he doesn't need backup to deal with Cleet. She says that he's stubborn and this is a sign of him being a Capricorn. She says Capricorns can be persistent. And he says, yeah, he must be persistent because he's still chasing after her. Terry asks Marquisha if she's happy. She says she doesn't have time to think about if she's happy because she's too busy worrying about the other people in her life. She says her boss has her working overtime, getting ready for these fraud and insurance claims that are gonna come in from Devil's Night. She says that the media doesn't report it, but that she thinks that these dudes from the suburbs are coming in and burning down the city and filing insurance claims so they can get richer. She thinks it's unfortunate that the media doesn't report on this. Okay, so Marquisha, she a little sophisticated. She watched the news. She knows what's going on. She trying to educate Terry, trying to show him, that more professional life, show him that swanky, like putting him up on game. Hey, I'm out here drinking fine wine. I'm out here eating fried calamari on the water. I'm not like Wanda. I'm not about to be up in the house. You know what I'm saying? So Terry gonna have to step his game up to hang out with Marquisha. So we switch to Zoe's school, and she's out getting out of school, waiting to get picked up by her mom. And in the distance, we see Lamar walk up, and he's wearing, I think he's wearing the corpse's blazer and his shoes. And those pants are green, so I can't tell if that was his cousin's pants. They look black earlier. So Zoe sees Lamar, and then boom, train passes by, and then we get the Michael Myers, disappearance kind of thing. So she swears she sees him. Her mom walks up. She's like, yo, I'm in the car waiting for you. And then she says, I think I just seen daddy, which is Lamar to her. And she's all like, no, you didn't see Lamar. There's no way you see Lamar, because she thinks that Lamar is dead. So she takes her, and then they hop in the car. We now switch, and we see Brian catching up with B. Mickey. It looks like B. Mickey's kind of been dodging him, and Brian says, let's take a ride. So they go in and they take a ride. Meech, we switch to Meech, and he's sticking up a tattoo shop to get more information about Travis. He's successful in threatening a tattoo shop owner, and he gets his address. As Meech is leaving, he gets a phone call from Mo, and she lets him know that Zoe said that she thinks she's seen Lamar at school. Meech says that Lamar dead, and that he's seen it for himself, and that Zoe needs to stop watching scary movies, and tells her that everything should be fine. Lamar is dead. So he hangs up the phone and he leaves. We now switch to Terry. He goes to the Touch of Class car service. He walks into the lobby and he demands to see Cleet. The receptionist there, and she's a black woman. She says that, oh, you need an appointment, that you just can't come in. Terry starts yelling, says, hey, he's gonna need to pay this invoice. And then Cleet comes out and says, yo, you got a problem? What's going on? And then Terry says, hey man, I know it's you popping my tires. And then Cleet says, oh, it seems you got the message. Okay, yeah, get the hell out of here. So pretty much Terry now confirms that Cleet is the guy doing it, but he can't really do anything right now because he's outnumbered. Should've went and got that backup like Markeisha said. See, she's smart, she be knowing what to do. We switch back to Brian and B. Mickey, and B. Mickey has him outside the hospital, and he's showing him these shipping containers. Inside these shipping containers are what appear to be a bunch of body bags. B. Mickey asks him, why are you here? Why are you bringing me here? And Brian says, these body bags are the overflow of, dead people coming off the streets and stuff with no one to claim them, and then the hospital doesn't have anywhere to put them, so they're putting them in these shipping containers. He then tells Big Mickey that Kato's body's in here. And then he shows him a autopsy from Kato that shows that she was pregnant with B. Mickey's child before she was murdered. So this makes B. Mickey just straight up start throwing up, and he's just really distraught. He doesn't, admit anything, but he's just super distraught. And he says, what do you want from me? And Brian says that he wants him to set up a deal with Meech, tell him that he has to connect with some medical grade stuff and he'll take care of the rest. So it looks like he's trying to get Meech set up for arrest. Now, is B. Mickey gonna do this? I do not know, I hope not. So we now got Meech looking for Travis, and he comes into this weird, smoky, broke down, trappy ass, trap house ass place, right? He comes in, he's looking around, and he sees a little girl running around in the house. She runs away to her mom. And we come up with this skinny lady, and we find out her name is Grace. But at first, Meech doesn't know what her name is. And he's talking to her. She's just twacked out. I'm telling you, she is a smoker. This woman is a smoker. She's in here just like, hey, I'll give you whatever, making all kinds of sexual offers to Meech for some crack. So Meech is asking where Travis is, and she's saying she's not giving it up unless he gives her something. And then Meech looks at the girl. Girl looked like she haven't eaten, and the girl looks like she's a starving child from Africa. And I don't like saying that, but that's what she looks like, okay? It looks like, one of those, pay 25 cents and you can save Sahara's life. Yeah, that kind of thing, okay? Not trying to be funny. Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. But if you want to, send this girl a quarter because she needs the help. So Meech is looking at her, and then he goes, okay, I'm going to go make a phone call. We now switch to a church scene. Everyone's singing and dancing. We got Lucille in the crowd. She's watching. We got some younger women. They're over here dancing and almost kind of borderline gospel twerking, okay? I was kind of wondering, okay, yeah, y'all need to calm down. We is not at the club. Is Pastor Swift passing out drinks? I don't know. But Charles is over here. He's over here playing the guitar, right? And he's over here, really getting into it. There's a woman singing right next to him, and he's all and getting all, he's just doing a little too much. Lucille over here watching like, looking at Charles like, what is this man doing? Does this man not know we having marriage issues? And he over here getting with the chick while he playing the guitar. So, she's kind of tripping out a little bit. And in the next scene, she speaks to the pastor, and she lets the pastor know she's having, troubles with the marriage. She's saying they're not, getting things done sexually. And she tells him about the magazines and stuff like that. And Pastor Swift says, start trying to be more attractive, and then she says, I went and got an outfit, and, it didn't really move him in the direction they need to move him in. And then she's like, okay, well, it's not just the outfit. Sometimes you gotta, change your spirit. You gotta be a little bit more submissive. And, this rubs her the wrong way. She says like, well, I can't really submit to no man. And he goes like, well, the Bible, kind of says you gotta submit to a man. Now, I don't agree with ladies, I know we got ladies here on Well Trap. I'm not saying this is what I agree with, but what I'm saying is Snoop Dogg told her, hey, that's what the Bible says, and he just walked off on her, right? So, okay, and I like how Lucille looked, because she didn't really want to accept that. I like that. So we switch back to Travis's, trap house. Now we find out, Meech finds out who Grace is. He finds out that Grace used to babysit him. And he's really shocked that, she's so down bad. And then B. Mickey shows up. B. Mickey shows up with what looks like to be a Happy Meal. And he also has some drugs. So Meech asks where Travis is. And then she finally tells her where Travis is, says his car's gonna be out front over here. Meech gives her the drugs and she gives the kid the Happy Meal. She immediately gets the drugs and starts trying to smoke that shit up. Why the kid is still in the room. So Meech tells B. Mickey to take the kid outside. He talks to her and he goes, yeah, why you lighting up in front of the kid like that? And she says, hey, don't judge me. I'm living and dying with my decisions. Are you living and dying with your decisions? So, Meech thinks about this. And if you look about this, I look at this scene and I go back to the last episode where he's standing there with K9. He says, when people violate, they have to demonstrate. And you're kind of seeing where Meech is going to go, because he's thinking about who he is and what kind of drug lord he's going to be in this scene. So we see them take off, but right before they take off, Meech is still hanging out with the girl, and Meech says, let's go. But you can tell that, just coming from hanging out with Brian and finding about the whole Kato situation, B. Mickey is thinking about this little girl, wondering about what would have been like if he had a daughter. So it's a little scary, and he's with Meech and, doing his right-hand man thing. But he's here, he sees this child that he's working with, and he's probably thinking about him and Kato's relationship. So we switch back to the church, and now Pastor Swift is confronting Charles. He goes up to Charles, and he makes a comment about, instead of talking about the marriage, he goes like, hey, things aren't going so well in the marital bed. And Charles is like, excuse me? And he says yo, I hear that, things aren't going so well in the marriage. And Charles lets him know, he goes like, hey man, I've never hit a man of God. But if you say one more thing about what's going on in my bedroom, I might have to hurt you. So Pastor Swift gets a little quiet after that. And, Charles says, I'm warning you. And he walks off. And then, Pastor Swift lets him know, hey man, make sure you put those magazines somewhere else. So Charles is a little embarrassed, and he's not very happy that Lucille is out there putting his business out there. So he's leaving to go talk to her about that. We switch to the Flannery car business garage, and we walk up, and Charles is fresh off of meeting with, Pastor Swift. So he's really upset, and it looks like more tires have been slashed. And so Charles, he sees Terry, and he's like, hey man, do you know what happened here? Are you back in the game? What's going on? We're definitely being targeted at this point. Terry says hey, I'm trying to figure this out. He doesn't really tell Charles that he knows who's doing it, but he's saying, I'm trying to figure this out. And Charles is pissed. And then Charles gets in his face, and he says that they're losing a day getting this stuff fixed. He says they have to pay for these tires. And he says that I just took a step forward and you just took me 3 steps back. So he's kind of taking position, saying that you did this and this is my stuff. And I'm not, remember I told you guys, I don't like how Charles been talking to Terry about this business. Now, Terry took a risk and he went out, it was a little, Terry was doing a little too much where he got this Cleet guy involved, because, he didn't have to go too far and write his name on the brochures, because that's what this dude's mad about. Cleet's not really mad about them expanding to the airport. He's mad about Terry going and writing on his brochures. But you got Charles over here saying that, hey, we're gonna do things my way. We're not gonna make conflict. And he's thinking that they're encroaching on their business, and that's why all this is happening. But that's not actually the case. So Charles storms off, and Denise walks up and says, yeah, I respect your dad and everything, but guess what? These dudes are gonna keep coming, so we gotta go do something back to them. So it looks like Denise might be a little bit of a writer. She says that she has a lot of experience working in GM. So Terry says, okay, so you know your way around cars. And she says, yes, I know my way around to do enough damage. So boom, they're about to go get into some work. We switch back to the Flannery house, and we have Charles. He's heading out the door. He's saying he's going to a woman named Mabel's house to help fix her fan. As he's walking out, Lucille stands up and says, yo, wait a second. And I've been thinking about this too. I'm like, why this house got all these little white spots and stuff on the walls and stuff? She said, hey, when you gonna fix these walls? And at first I thought when she was talking about those walls, but no, she's not talking about those walls. She's talking about those walls. So she's like, yo, when you gonna patch up these walls? And Charles is all he stops for a second. And you know what? Charles is actually pretty mature, because he sends Nikki upstairs. He sends Nikki upstairs so he can have a word with his mom. And he goes like, hey, I don't know who you think you are, because you embarrassed me in front of, like with that pastor, telling that pastor our business. You know, why are you going around telling our business to everybody? And she goes, well, that's our pastor. He's supposed to be able to know our business. He says that the pastor's not a good role model because this dude's in his third marriage. So they really digging on Pastor Swift. And she says he's a man of God and he deserves respect. When y'all gonna start respecting me around here? And she goes like, you'll get respect when you earn it. So I'm like, dang, that's messed up. So then Charles, he hears that and he storms out. But Charles, come on, like, you know, y'all gotta give his respect. He care about his family. He be taking care of business. The only thing you can't like about him is that he cares too much about his family and he takes care of too much goddamn business. Sit your ass down, have a fucking beer, and dance a little bit, okay, in the house like you about to be dancing over at this lady's house, okay? Let's go. So now we switch over to Mabel's house, and Charles, he's up here fixing the fan. He's on the ladder, you know, doing his thing. And she down here dancing to some old tunes and stuff. And he over here kind of checking her out like, okay, I'm seeing what she got, what she working with. And, you know, she's over there putting on the moves, and she keeps on trying to challenge him to come down off the ladder and dance a little bit and show her what he got. So at first he's like, no, but eventually he gives in. He goes down there and he puts some moves on her real quick, you know, does this little swang on her a little bit, you know, but the thing is he keeps the space. He never put his arms around her. He just kind of, he swings towards her, let her know he can put it on her. But he don't really engage, right? So he finished that up and he says, hey, we've been fooling around enough. I'm about to get up out of here. And before he leaves, she tries to pay him and he goes like, oh no, you family, I don't need this money, you know what I'm saying? But then she's all like, no, you work really hard, you know, you should be appreciated for the work that you do. So boom, you know, so he's thinking about this, like, yeah, man, this woman appreciated what I do, whoop-de-whoop, all that stuff. So he takes the money and he heads out. So now we're driving with Brian and Veronica, and they have to respond to this burning house call. They get this call over the radio and they pull over to respond. There's a bunch of people out in front of this burning house and they tell them to back up. And they want to try to put the fire out, but then the community members say, no, they set this fire because this is her house and the police weren't doing anything about it, and that's why they took action. So then we hear a person screaming from inside the house, and then Veronica Jen runs in against Brian's orders to not go in. She just goes in anyway to rescue this guy. She's able to pull a man out, and she saves his life. The EMT dudes show up, and they start working on him, and Brian's just standing there looking like, why did you run up in there? We now switch to Terry and Denise, and they are breaking into the Touch of Class's garages. They're going in to sabotage their cars. They're pouring sugar inside the gas tanks, and Terry takes it a little bit more personal on Cleet's car and sabotages his brakes. Terry learns from Denise, and he says he likes her style. We switch to Meech and B. Mickey, and they're creeping up on Travis's spot. They can see him through the window getting intimate with K9's girl Peaches. Meech says this changes everything, but before they can act, they see an arsonist behind them trying to torch their car. They stop him and they take his Molotov. They take his Molotov and they throw it into Travis's car, which starts a big fire. Travis comes out to see what's going on. He sees B. Mickey, starts shooting at him, and then a shootout ensues. Travis runs back to his house, and he's still shooting, fighting back. Meech sneaks in through the back door, and they're both shooting at Travis. Travis won't stop shooting, and Meech keeps yelling at Travis that he doesn't want to kill him, but Travis won't give up. Eventually, Travis keeps shooting at them, and Meech has to shoot him. Travis gets hit in the head, and he's down. Meech is upset because he's like, dang it, we're supposed to bring him in alive. But B. Mickey was like, what were they supposed to do? The guy was shooting, he wouldn't give up. Next thing you know, Peaches confronts Meech. Meech says that he's not here for her and to lower her gun, that he's there, that K9 sent him there for Travis. And she says that she's still gonna do what she wants to do. And Meech says he doesn't care who she sleeps with. And they take Travis and they leave. When Meech pops the trunk, K9 asks Meech who Travis was with. Meech says that Travis was with his girl Peaches. K9 gets upset and says that she's disloyal, and then he gets even more upset and says that he ordered Meech to bring him in alive because he wanted to kill him and that Meech should have followed instructions. And for this reason, he is not going to give Meech his product. Meech is upset and says, what was he supposed to do? This dude was shooting at him, and K9 says, business is business. You didn't do it the way you're supposed to do it, so no product for you. Go get rid of this guy. And Meech is upset. B. Mickey says he knows where they can get rid of the body, but Meech says that he has something else to do first and that to call his connect, because they're gonna need that connect. After B. Mickey agrees to call the connect, Meech says that Meech again acknowledges that B. Mickey is his right-hand man. So throughout the episode, he keeps calling him his right-hand man. Little does he know, this medical grade contact is gonna be Brian, and Meech may get busted. let's see what happens. So now we switch to Veronica Jin, and she's catching up with the John that she pulled out of that burning whorehouse. We find out this dude is a Vietnam veteran, and we find out that her family left Vietnam before Saigon fell. Veronica Jin thanks young black veterans like him for his service, and then he tells her thank you and that no one has ever said anything like that to him. So she really believes in everyone. Like, she believes in like the good of humanity. Even though she wants to get drugs off the street, she really believes in people. This guy, he was in there probably soliciting sex, but she doesn't care about that. She cares more about the fact that he was a veteran and that, you know, at one point he was a good person. Back inside her car, she's still really hurt. She's really distraught. And we see her grab a cigarette lighter and burn her wrist, right? She burns her wrist, but we can see on her wrist that she has a bunch of burns all down her wrist. So she does this often, right? So she really takes this police stuff really too seriously. Brian gets in the car. He's pissed. He's wondering why she ran in there, risked both of their lives for some dude soliciting sex. He is not happy. So Brian doesn't see the humanity in these dudes. He's like, yo, these dudes, you know, if they're scum, they're scum. We're not helping these dudes, right? Veronica tells Brian that they don't get to choose who to save. Sounds like, for a second, I almost thought I was in a Marvel movie or something. I swear to God, I thought she was like, May. We now switch to Cleet, and he's driving his route, and next thing you know, his brakes go out. That just rhymed. He almost crashes, but he's able to get the car to a control and come to a stop. As he stopped, we hear a car pull up and people get out, and he tries to go for his gun, but next thing you know, window is smashed, he gets pulled out, and the BMF crew, Terry, B. Mickey, and Meech, they are giving this dude a beat down. They let him know next time he may get buried. So I think that might be the end of Cleet, or maybe he might retaliate. We will see. We switch to Terry. He is finding Markeisha at her office at nighttime, exiting the building. He says that he's seen her car, so he stopped. She is really not trying to make eye contact with him, and she's trying to get to her car, and he's like, yo, Markeisha, look at me, and she keeps walking, and then finally she looks at him, and he sees a big bruise. It looks like boom, when boom! Sorry. Anyway, so she got hit in the face, and Terry's like, yo, that's crazy. Hey, we gotta do something about this. And she says, no, you can't do anything about this. This is my husband and the father of my son. And then he gives her the line from the trailer. It says, hey girl, if you was with me, you don't gotta worry about being treated like that. And then next thing you know, they start making out. Oh my God, they start making out. They start kissing, so now we got Lala, Terry got Lala, boom, okay, cool. Okay, so they start making out, she said she gotta go. She hop in the car, she looked back at Terry, and oh God, girl looking like a hot mess. Terry, you got Lala out over here looking like a hot mess. She in love, boy. She drive off in her little bucket, and then she goes off, and look, the night's all orange and stuff, and everything's on fire, the whole night's on fire, and he just got that kiss from Markeisha. Yes, I know everybody's happy about that. All right, let's go. So we switch to Mo's house, and she is playing board games with Zoe. She gets a phone call, and there's no one on the other line. We don't hear anybody, so she just hangs up. She tells Zoe that it was the wrong number. Next, you know, she hears a car peel out, you know, and then she's like, what the hell? So she gets up, checks the door, goes to see what's outside, and then she sees those candies that Lamar used to get her. So she takes those, brings them in the house, and then she tells Zoe to go to bed, and she tries to call Meech. She's calling Meech. Meech's phone is ringing, but it's in the car, and Meech is out in front of Coney's, and now Terry is back with him, B. Mickey, and one of their goons. I don't know this dude's name. They're sitting here, and they're talking and stuff, and Terry thanks Meech for helping him out. He goes inside to go get a hot dog, and then Meech's goon tells him, yo, I went up to Ohio, and then guess what? Yeah, it turns out your cousin, I don't know, you know, if the product got stolen or did not get stolen, but this dude's rolling around in a new car and it looks a little sketchy. So Meech is like, okay, we got a Judas in the family, and he takes B. Mick and he says, all right, this is why you're my right-hand man. Okay, we about to go meet this dude. So let's get going, right? We also see at this point that Brian and Veronica Jin are over here watching, and they're coordinating a sting operation on Meech. They are waiting for B. Mickey to take them off to this deal. So B. Mickey gets in the car. They're all about to leave. Meech says he's gonna follow after B. Mickey and watch the whole thing go down. As B. Mickey's leaving, he stops and he doesn't move. And Meech is like, what the hell's going on with this dude doing? And B. Mickey, you can tell he's sitting there thinking, is he gonna get Meech busted, or is he just gonna do something to stop this all from happening? And he's thinking, and then finally he gets out the car to go to the payphone. He tells Meech, 1 second, hold on. And then next thing you know, a car pulls up, Jeep pulls up, Lamar's in the Jeep. Meech's goon is like, hey, I think that's Lamar. And the next thing you know, Lamar starts busting. Bow, 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 bow. Start busting, right? And you can't tell if Meech is getting hit, but something going on, okay? So they try to get out the car. He drives off. Next thing you know, Veronica Jim pulls up. She hops out. She starts busting over at Lamar. Lamar drives off. And then Meech is like, he's hit. Meech is hit. Brian hops out. He's like, yo, everybody get on the ground, get on the ground. And everyone's, you know, Terry and B. Mickey, they're trying to help Meech. So they're trying to help Meech, and they're like, he's like moving them off of Meech, and he's like keeping them away, and they're like, call an ambulance, but he's like forcing Meech to the ground and trying to keep Meech to the ground. And then I realized, oh, this fool's trying to just let Meech bleed out right here. He's just trying to let Meech die right here. And then they're still screaming, you know, ambulance, etc. Meech is clenching on, he's holding on to Bryant, and then Veronica finally says, hey, what are you doing? Stop. We got to get this guy to the hospital. Stand down, tells us to stand down. She tells them to put Meech in the back of the car and that she's gonna give them an escort, and then tells Brian to get in the freaking car. So Brian has to, you know, let it go. He gets in the car. So thank God for Veronica Jen. She just saved Meech's life. They hop in the car and she's giving them the exit. So we end the episode, Terry's driving, Meech is in the back bleeding out with the goon and B. Mickey, and it's looking pretty bad for Meech, but we know Meech is gonna survive, but it's still looking pretty bad. It looks like B. Mickey was able to get out that situation just from the circumstances. He didn't have to get Meech busted just now, so that's gonna happen. We got Lamar. Lamar is out. Lamar is out, and he is going crazy. Oh my God, are we about to get back? Remember I told you guys, I thought it was gonna take this dude like 6 episodes to be up. This dude, he was up in 2. So he's out, he's doing his thing, he's coming, he is coming. We still got this Cleat guy going on, and we got this Markeisha thing going on. What's gonna go on with Boom and Markeisha? Okay, now remember too, B. Mickey, oh man, that scene with him and Brian, where Brian told him, hey man, BMF, they telling you to kill your baby mama and your unborn son? Like, this stuff is getting crazy, guys. Like, where are these characters gonna go? So keep rocking with your boy. Make sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, put a notification bell so you know when I go live and make a new video. Thanks for those new subscribers, guys. I will see you guys next week. Peace.